Welcome to Verse Breakdown. My name is Ewaenruwa, and I want to discuss the verse Matthew chapter 7 verse 1, which reads, "Judge not, that ye be not judged." Most Christians have heard of this verse, but the reason why it's so popular isn't necessarily because it's so meaningful. It's because it's almost like an excuse Christians have. Anytime they're being criticized, righteous judgment is being brought to them, they're like, no, you can't judge me because Jesus said in Matthew chapter 7 verse 1 that you can't judge so that you don't get judged as well. And other verses like Romans chapter 2 in verses 1 and 2 and James chapter 4 in verses 11 and 12 say similar things. But the reason why people don't understand this verse and it's misinterpreted is also not because it's complicated. It's because people don't like to read context. They take one verse and run. Let's analyze verses 2 to 5 of Matthew chapter 7 so that we can understand verse 1 properly. Verse 2 reads, "For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again." Jesus Christ essentially meant here that when we decide to be telling other people what's wrong with their lives and so on, fine. But what we're telling them is also going to reflect on our lives, especially if we are suffering these same problems. The truth is like a double-edged sword. It not only judges the person you're telling, but it also judges you, the person who is saying it. If we read Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. Therefore, when we are judging someone, have it in mind that you are also being judged by the same thing. Jesus Christ therefore said in verse 1 that we shouldn't be judging others because most Christians don't bother to really look at themselves. They just want to be telling other people what is wrong with them. Now let's move on to verse 3. "And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye?" And verse 4 says something similar. "Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, Let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine eye?" Jesus Christ was essentially saying here that why are we going about telling others what's wrong with them when we have bigger problems in our own lives? And then he concludes with verse 5. "Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye." Why did Jesus Christ make such a big comparison? Why did he compare the problem you're discussing as a mote and then what is in you as a beam? And that's because many Christians, they have big problems, but they go about pointing out the small problems in other people's lives. Like if you forget to salute someone, or if you forget to do a certain Christian tradition, whereas them, they don't even know how to love and how to have faith and how to be merciful and so on. Those are cardinal attributes. If we read Galatians chapter 5 and verses 22 and 23. And to understand this better, let's look at the Pharisees. The Pharisees were people who would always look at the little problems that other people have, but they wouldn't bother looking at the big problems that infested their lives. They pointed out to Jesus Christ that his disciples were not washing their hands to the elbow in Matthew chapter 15. They also pointed out to some people, especially Jesus Christ, that, you're not really supposed to be working on the Sabbath and all that kind of stuff. But they didn't really bother to care about how they were lovers of money when that is wrong. If we read Luke chapter 16 verse 14 and 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10. They didn't bother to know that the devil was controlling them. If we read John chapter 8 verse 44 and so on and so forth. They should have cared more about that before going about telling others what their problems were. Jesus Christ, on the other hand, already knew that he was a righteous man. He was sinless after all. If we read 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 22 and 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 21. And that was why he would judge people like the Pharisees in Matthew chapter 23 from verses 13 to 39, but specifically verses 33 to 39. He could do that because he himself was righteous and there was nothing wrong with him. Therefore, instead of using Matthew chapter 7 verse 1 to shoot people off when they want to tell us the right thing, rather, we should do what John chapter 7 verse 24 says. It tells us that we should judge not according to their appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Mark that last phrase, judge righteous judgment. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't judge people. It doesn't mean that when we see people in iniquity, we should just leave them alone because Matthew chapter 7 verse 1 apparently says we shouldn't judge. No, it just means that we should pay attention to our own problems, and once what we're telling others we do not have that problem, then we can go about judging other people and helping them recover from such things as well. If read Galatians chapter 6 verse 1. And that is where I want to stop on discussing that verse, Matthew chapter 7 verse 1, which once again reads, "Judge not, that ye be not judged." I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new about Matthew chapter 7 verse 1. And if you want to know more about who we are, check out the channels that are on the screen in front of you right now. And don't forget to visit some of those links that we have in the description below. And also don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified when we make future videos just like this. Have a great day, and God bless you.